Hey guys, Demi here from Atlas Vibration Spirituality, and I am here with your Mercury retrograde collective update in Aries to Pisces. Once again, I have recorded this video multiple times, but I found that there's so much energy to sit here and talk to you about, or information, I guess energy, to talk to you about. So I'm just going to hop right into this. And if I'm talking fast, I apologize, but also, luckily, you can go back. And yeah, here we go. So, Mercury is going to station retrograde tomorrow morning, March 15th at 2:46 a.m. It will go back into Pisces on March 29th, and it will station direct on April 7th. In Pisces. It's happening at 9 degrees in your chart, so please book a read at some point or check to see where this is in your chart to see what area of life this is happening for you at. And essentially what is happening with this Mercury retrograde is we're feeling and thinking about ourselves, and it may be overwhelming about who you are, knowing who you are, and who you think you know that you are. And you may be seeing that you want to change your physical appearances. You may also be seeing that you need to think more about yourself a little bit. And closing out this huge chapter about how you think in general and how you also speak as well, depending on where this is and how it is going accordingly for you. So we also need to review too. Spirit said, what do we want? This is about being assertive. This is also about thinking about what we want, taking physical action to make that happen, speaking out and saying kind of what we mean versus like say what you mean what you say, and gaining that self-awareness. That's really key with Aries that I think that people need to realize is, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but I know a lot of people who sit in a very low vibrational Aries energy, and we'll go over that in a second. But how are we going to be with this retrograde logically and trying to make things happen, right? How are we trying to think about what we want, make it happen, and think about what we're going to take the next steps to be assertive? It's going to be very hard to come to a decision during this time. So I don't want you guys to be rushing into it. Mercury is an air sign. It is in a fire sign. And it will go into a water sign with Pisces. It's not in its home energy. So it may feel at times very positive and you may feel very frustrated at the same time. And I don't want you guys to go like with Aries, it can be like impulsive. So don't go rushing in. Don't just go being impulsive. And if you are, and that's your nature, that's okay. Just keep in mind being self-aware. This is where you need to review this. And if you make some mistakes, it's okay. Because something that I learned from Teal Swan, which I think is really important, I got a different perspective and looked at retrogrades very, very differently. And those of you that are watching me know that I'm like, review. But what is that review? What is that part that you need to review? And I'm going to give you some examples. So essentially, what that means is wherever this is happening for in your chart, just look at it. But an example that I'm reviewing as a collective is how I actually speak. I'm somebody who I had to look at my Mercury sign, and it's something that's been coming up, and I got to check my own chart. But Mercury, I have a Mercury in Cancer at, I forget what the degree is, but it's conjunct my sun in my 10th house in Cancer. And so when I speak, I mean what I say. I don't like to repeat myself. And I had to understand that that's Capricorn energy. Like, they don't take shit from anybody. They're somebody that's like, as soon as the bullshit comes, they stop it. So it's like that dual part of myself. I also have my moon sign in my 3rd house in Sagittarius, so I just love to talk. I used to have like literal like verbal diarrhea of the mouth. I just love whatever come out, spew out. And sometimes I wouldn't think, and sometimes I realized that my energy would be too much and I would drain people. And I'm learning because essentially we've talked about this multiple times in my other videos, so please go back and take a look. Speaking of the spirits, like speaking of not repeating yourself, but even though you repeat yourself in your videos sometimes. But Venus retrograde is also in the same area. We have the eclipse in Aries. So this Aries energies in this area in life is very important. Ending of Pisces, the last zodiac sign, to Aries, into something being completely new and a new cycle. So I'm realizing I don't want to talk repeating myself, and honoring that and seeing that people need to get up on my level and stop dumbing myself down. Also, not wanting to drain other people. And I'm also somebody that doesn't want to talk anymore as much as I used to. I really am learning because those of you that know me personally, Saturn in 6th house Pisces, I want to keep my peace. That's something that I'm really like heavily learning with this Virgo energy, because it was in my 12th house. So I also want to keep my peace. And sometimes talking drains me as well. So those are things that you have to be mindful of. And I'm also being self-aware of how I'm saying, what I'm saying, and how it is affecting other people. As soon as I start to see people getting drained, I take a step back and I'm like, okay, this person's drained. I'm going to be respectful. And I'm also going to realize that I need to stop talking, and I need to be more self-aware about the people that are around me. And also myself, making sure that I'm getting what I need. But I'm just realizing, once again, that pivotal point, what's the lesson? And that, review of unfinished business that I need to take care of is I'm talking too much at times. Not that it's a bad thing, but I don't want to. So hopefully that makes sense. So Mercury retrograde, right? Something, once again, that Teal Swan talked about, is we always say don't make contracts or don't sign things. It's not the right time to do this. But what that means is it's in a feminine energy when something is retrograde. So you're going to see that your speech is going to slow down. You're not going to be able to communicate easily, like you're stuttering with your words. You can't think straight to have the words come out properly. You may be having trouble writing, or like if you're creative, you may have a lot of like writer's block. You may be trying to get passionate and try and write things out, but it's not working. Travel is also very difficult at this time. Not that I'm trying to plan it into your mind, but you've been seeing a lot of accidents, and it's mainly. It is mainly short-term travel. So that could be car, bus, plane, bike, anything that will give you short-term travel. I would also say too, and I know it sounds like that is so effing far-fetched, Demi, but even if you're walking somewhere and you're by a street, just be careful. Okay? Just be careful. Electronics, you're seeing that things won't load. Wi-Fi is weird. Anything that has electrical wiring, your cars, anything that has electronics. It's very, yeah. It's not working. Try to move and flow as best as possible. And once again, talking about contracts. We talk about not signing contracts or verbally agreeing to contracts. I try not to. It's not the time. This is also not the time to be, oh my God, my mind just went blank. All right, well, I completely forgot what I was going to say, but this is, it'll come to me later. But, oh yeah, don't change your physical appearance entirely in regard to surgery. This is not the time, oh, here we go. But yeah, don't change your appearance, but this is not the time to be physically implementing this. Take the time to sit down and review if you need to review. Make the changes that you need to, but just don't be impulsive with making those changes, because Aries can pull that energy, right? So do what feels best. You have free will, free choice, but just keep in mind, okay? Aries, we've talked about this in multiple videos, so I want you guys to just keep in mind, keep the self-awareness in mind. Learning to be not so self-centered and selfish in verbal communication, and the inconsistency, seeing where you need to be more self-aware, where you're not talking enough, like I talked about. Are you talking too much? Your physical appearance. Your Aries rules the head. So if you're thinking about making changes, I just wouldn't do that. as of yet, just wait until it goes into Pisces, just so that way, but if you're sure, do it if that's what you feel is best. We're also reviewing how we think about our body, how we move our body, what our body looks like. How do we want to change that? And it goes into the tying of Venus retrograde, where you may be buying things that you feel may make you feel good about yourself, what makes you look good. As everybody knows, I was just downstairs picking out a new foundation color because tretinoin, I'm on that, and then it changed my skin color over time. Like, it lightened my skin up and got all the damage out of it. So I had to find something that matched. Essentially, Pisces, being that we're wrapping up, it rules the soul, the dreams, your dreams, sleep, hidden enemies, which is also just the unknown, the subconscious, the things that people don't really share with other people, those deep-rooted fears and things that they just don't understand and can't understand. That it's a very feminine sign and positive, unconditional love ruled by Neptune. So creativity, and also the shadow energy is very delusional, escapism, secretive, and sensitive emotions. So once that hits Pisces, you're going to see that. But come to that cycle of completion, right? You may be thinking more about how you're sleeping, and talking to people who are your enemies. How did these people speak to you, talking about those hidden enemies? And something that I want to go over very quickly, essentially, is Aries. We have a lot of that Aries energy right now. So if you're feeling very combative, if you're seeing the negative sides of people being verbally abusive and aggressive towards you, they're getting kind of nasty, they're being dominating, they're trying to, start an argument or quote unquote war, because Aries is ruled by Mars and it's war. This is where we should not be arguing, because Spirit is telling us, do not argue with people, because Aries is about the sense of self and self-awareness. People are at war with themselves. This is what that is. This is where this mentality of Aries comes from, why it rules war. And this is why I'm going to say this now on a deeper level, that the elites and the people who are controlling us made us at war with ourselves, so we'd be at war with other people. We are at war with hating other people. So this is where this comes from. You're going to see it in a very verbal way. And I'm not trying to scare you guys. Don't get it into your feelings. But if you're seeing people being verbally aggressive, we're in eclipse season, and yes, it's not good. But you're also reviewing the positive side of Aries. Essentially, step into Libra energy if you're feeling too much of this Aries energy, like I've been talking about. Okay? Find balance. See the both sides of the story. Seeing how you could make this person feel a certain way, and whether right and wrong, and judging that. And seeing where you may have been wronged, and finding peace and justice within yourself. Do not be a people pleaser, essentially, but finding where you can talk a little bit more. Talk in your one-to-one relationships. Be more positive with Libra. Find that balance, right? So Spirit also says reshape your thoughts about yourself and your appearance and your inner dialogue. And once the fuzziness of Pisces comes and you feel like you can't focus and your brain is floating, just try and ground yourself in with Virgo energy. Stay in your daily routines. Keep working at it. Ground yourself into the physical reality in which you're in mentally. Create the boundaries with your mind, so that way you can review, close out the cycle that we just talked about earlier on in the video, and seeing that the truths also, you may be seeing from enemies that there's truths coming out. You're going to see that there's people that you don't like that are starting to tell you the truth, or you're finding out that there's people that really just don't effing like you, and telling you who you can be, your potential, or trying to keep you from doing that. And essentially, it's going to create this internal war that you have with yourself. Okay? That's the most important part, is that internal war with yourself. Okay? So no arguing, no giving your power to other people, no stepping into that negative vibrations of Pisces and Aries. Stay grounded, review, change yourself, become this new person of who you're trying to be, embody the Aries energy, and just don't be selfish, don't be mean, don't be violent with your words, and try and stay in that high vibe, okay? Until next time, namaste.